We're here today to recognize excellence, to recognize public service at its best by folks who do their job without looking for any kind of fanfare, who do their job for the benefit of the city and everybody who lives in it. And we are very fortunate in the city of New Bedford to have a highly effective set of public safety agencies. Our police, fire, and EMS departments do fantastic work all the time. And we're here to talk about two incidents of many, frankly, that deserve praise, but two that really stand out and warrant special attention. So I'm going to call up the directors of each of our, the chiefs of each of our public safety agencies in a second, but we're here today to highlight the responses of folks, public servants who are doing their thing, their routine thing on two normal days that turn very abnormal very quickly, and as a result saved the lives of New Bedford residents. And I will, without any further ado, just say two things. I want to say thank you to all of you for your service. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your dedication to the city. You deserve our praise every day, and today we're able to give you a little extra attention that you deserve as a result. I'm going to call up the heads of our agencies in a moment. I want to thank Kerry Winterson, our Ward 5 counselor, for appearing today and offering his support. And I will, without any further ado, let me call Chief Mike Gomes of our fire department to talk about the two incidents and the role of the fire department in those incidents. And I'll call up Chief Dave Provencher to do the same, and then Mark McGraw from EMS. So Chief, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As the mayor said, these type of incidents occur every single day in our community, and the dedicated public safety personnel from all three agencies are out there every single day making a difference going forward. Unfortunately, sometimes they don't come to our attention. Sometimes the outcomes aren't as we would hope. Those are actually much more difficult to deal with. But these were two incidents that we're going to talk about where we had actual positive outcomes. We've been able to help the citizens of the community in doing so, and so we thought we'd bring them to the people's attention. On August the 8th, engine company number 8, which is located at Davis and Acushnet Avenue, was dispatched to a call on Belleville Avenue. As they approached the intersection at Acushnet Avenue and Sawyer, they came upon a gentleman in the roadway who was covered in blood and was having some type of distress. They pulled up the engine, immediately called for more assistance from EMS. The individual was having a serious issue and was doing harm to himself. Citizens were unaware of the situation, were coming upon the situation. The crew of Engine 8 jumped out and corralled the individual and kept the public away from him. Once he started becoming unsteady on his feet, they were able to rush him, pin him to the ground, and begin giving aid to the individual. The police department arrived on scene shortly thereafter, and they assisted in placing the individual in custody in order to protect himself and others. They also assisted in the first aid measures for the individual. The EMS department arrived shortly thereafter, and the individual was cared for, was passed to their care, and transported to the hospital. And the individual is out in our community, and has had a good outcome. So hopefully he's gotten the help that he needs in that circumstance. So that was our participation on the August 8th incident. Again, the fact that the individual was doing harm to himself, the crew of Engine 8 stepped in to get between the community and the individual and to ensure that he didn't do any further harm to himself and again to the community. So for their selfless acts, that's why we're recognizing them today.
All right, you want to take it away? Who, I think Kelly has,
Do both? or?
Yeah, we do both. Yeah, that's probably the most, so everybody can keep track well. And then
Sure.
we'll have Chief Provencher come up and Mark come up.
Absolutely.
So we'll do that.
The second incident that we're gonna discuss occurred on August the 22nd, and while it didn't necessarily rise to the level of the first incident, this involved a sudden onset cardiac arrest for a 68-year-old female. We were able to be dispatched in a rapid manner. In 4 minutes' time, we were at the subject's home, found the individual, again, in distress. Again, sudden cardiac arrest. We were able to immediately use an automatic defibrillator in order to have a positive outcome. Engine 1 was the company involved, and District Chief Kruger, who was acting as Unit 2 that day. Now, luckily that day, Chief Kruger's a licensed paramedic. We also had a firefighter on board Engine 1 that was a licensed paramedic, also an EMT and a former EMT. So again, we bring a great deal of expertise into the field. They put their efforts to this individual, again with the participation of the police department. They arrived and were extremely helpful in the process of treating the patient and moving them on. And again, EMS came in. I'm pleased to say that the female in this case, again, had a very positive outcome and is starting her cardiac rehab and has had no deficit from this event, even though there was a cardiac arrest. And it is anticipated that she is going to have a productive and fruitful life going forward.
Very good. So I think, why don't we do this? Why don't we have you, Mike, hand out the certificates to firefighters, and then we'll have Chief Provencher come up and do the same.
District Chief David Cooper is being recognized. He couldn't be with us today. He's recently had surgery and is unavailable. Captain Matthew Ostergy, he's the officer in command of Engine 8, and again led his crew so well in this incident, so I'd like to recognize him. Mr. Mayor, you're going to hand it off. Firefighter Justin Ponce. Firefighter Marco De Lima couldn't be with us today. And firefighter Nathan Sylvia. For the August 22nd incident, District Chief Scott Kruger. Lieutenant Peter Malio, the officer in charge of Engine 1. Firefighter Nathan Venancio. Firefighter Jolene Menard. And firefighter Robert Ferreira. All right, step aside.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thank you, Chief. All right, next up, I would ask Dave Provencher, our police chief, to talk a little bit about the role of the police department in both incidents. Dave.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not sure about all of you, but after hearing Chief Gomes really highlight all this, I don't know about you all, but I'm going to sleep a whole lot better tonight knowing we got such a great fire department. I think the critical part about this, without reiterating a lot of what Mike had to say and keeping all of you in front of the hotlines longer than we need to be, I think what's unique about this is both of these incidents really highlight what I consider to be a really unique component of the public safety response we have available here in New Bedford, and that's the unbelievable cooperative and collaborative efforts and relationship that we have between fire, police, and EMS. As you heard Chief Gomes talk about, we respond to calls like this every day. Periodically it makes good sense to really stop and think about what that means for this community, and I think you can all conclude pretty easily that it assists us in our ability to do what we're here to do, and that's to save lives. And I think it's important that we stand up and for a moment thank each and every one of the officers, firefighters, and EMS workers who go out there every single day and do just that by putting their own lives on the line. And I think we all owe them a serious debt of gratitude for that. Lieutenant Paul Demers was a responder in the August 8th incident, and I have a hard time getting surprised and worked up when members of our public safety team do these extraordinary actions, because those are the types of responses that I've come to expect and see time and time again. The unbelievable courage and strength of character that they display pretty much every day is the standard, not the exception. And I take great pride in leading an organization that displays those traits every single day and deliver that type of service to the folks who live and work here and raise their families here. And that means a great deal to me, both professionally and personally. For the second incident, which I think demonstrates really, better than anything, the purpose of public safety in a community, and that's, as I said before, saving lives. We have Officer Jason Hill. And Officer Gomes. Yeah, the best part, the last thing I want to talk about is probably going to come back up here and smack the daylights out of me, but Dominique left a foot chase just before she came here to make sure she was here on time. and that
Kept running.
And that is the sole secret of Officer Discretion. She just ran right from the chase up here. She didn't want to let the mayor down.
That's right. Thank you, Dominique. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Dave. All right. All right. And last but not least, certainly not least, is Mark McGraw, our Director of Emergency Medical Services, and the role. I want him to come up here and explain the role that his folks played in both of these incidents, the great job and great reaction they made in both occasions. Mark.
Good afternoon. To echo what the two chiefs said and the mayor, it is truly teamwork out there every day. This is 2 calls out of 16,000 for EMS that we do a year. You can see how many people it took to do it, and to do it well. It's a labor of love for everybody in this room that works this job. You don't do it for the money. You certainly don't do it for the hours. But when things turn out well like this, it definitely needs to be celebrated. Our paramedics, within the past few years, have started a point of entry for trauma and a point of entry for STEMI, which is a heart attack. We go to Charlton Memorial for the cardiac stuff. We go to Rhode Island for the trauma, and it's making a difference. It's saving lives. Both of these calls had to be responded to quickly, treated quickly, and then on the way to Rhode Island or the way to Fall River to be treated. Our guys do this day in and day out. They are the best in the area. Compared to a city like Boston, where they have a lot more employees, we have 30 full-time that rotate every week and put in 40-plus hours, so they become very good at what they do. You can have full confidence that they are going to take care of you if you are sick and get you to where you need to go. So without further ado, these guys were on both calls, by the way. So they were on the stabbing, they were on the cardiac. So First one goes to paramedic Paul Levesque.
Nice job, Paul. Good job.
And the second paramedic is paramedic Sherry Miles. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Now, you guys should get 2 certificates. That only be appropriate. I just have a couple of wrap-up remarks. So, there may be a temptation to say, well, a press conference like this is just sort of a feel-good ceremony, and people like to read this, and there's a lot of fluff. It isn't that. The individuals here that we're honoring today signed up for their jobs for one reason, and that's to help people. They love the city, they wanted to serve others, and they have that opportunity to do that, along with all their colleagues in their respective departments. And there are times when they go out and their job is hard, and they may do something great, and it's just a matter of, you can chalk it up to they're just doing their job. And that you could also characterize what we're honoring them for as being just part of their job, but we're honoring them because their jobs are extraordinary, and we have expectations that they perform well under extraordinary circumstances. The first business of government is to keep people safe, and because of the level of importance, the urgency of the moment, what they did was really extraordinary, and we do well. It is entirely fitting and proper that we honor them in this way. And so I reiterate my thanks and my congratulations on a job well done, and also to reiterate my pride that here in New Bedford we have folks who strive for excellence in what they do and are achieving it. Our EMS department is one of the busiest in the state. They do an extraordinary job delivering folks not only to our local hospital, but to Fall River and to Providence, as Mark pointed out. They do it very, very well. Our police department, I've said, so many of you've heard me say times before, in my previous life as a federal prosecutor, I dealt with lots of law enforcement agencies, and I know the New Bedford Police Department, long before I became mayor, was one that stood out among many across the Northeast. And then our fire department gets the job done every day. They were recently recognized by ISO New England as a top-tier fire department here in Massachusetts, joining only Cambridge and Boston. The expectation here in New Bedford is that in all the things that we do, we'll strive for excellence. And these are 3 groups, these are 3 chiefs, and there are 3 sets of individuals who achieved that on behalf of our residents. And again, we thank you guys for that. Be happy to take any questions if there are any. All right, hearing none. Jim? Nothing? One-on-one. All right, you got it. All right, thank you everybody. Thanks for coming today.